Okay, hey people, I'm back. Sorry about that, but hey, that's a great thing about being working from home. You can stop when you need to, or your daughter needs you, you can go take care of business, and I'm not having to leave her with someone else to take care of her and to watch her. And growing up, like I said, my mom was at work a lot, and my dad, when I was 6, he moved out clear out west to Idaho. His job transferred him, so we only saw him in the summer for a week or two. But my older brother, he was awesome. He was 6 years older than me, and he pretty much kind of raised us when my mom was at work. And but anyhow, so we kind of were on our own a lot. And that is another thing, that I never really wanted for my kids. I wanted to be there for them at all times. And with this type of business, I can be here for my girls, and I love it. You never get that time back with your kids, and it's vital, and it's precious times, and I love them to pieces. But anyhow, to back to my story. So I got married at 19, right out of high school. Married a contractor, madly in love. So I thought, and even though before I got married, I kind of had this feeling like you really shouldn't do it, that gut feeling. But when you're young and dumb, and yeah, you're in love, and but love is blind, the neighbors aren't, kind of thing. So anyway, was married to him for 7 years, and would still be married to him if he only was happy with one woman. But unfortunately, like a lot of guys, not to be a man hater, because I'm not, but one woman wasn't enough for him. So, and he was young too. He was only like, let's see, like 23 when we got married. So he just wasn't ready, and I was. And so, anyhow, it was pretty ugly. The divorce was real ugly. I was 25 when we got divorced, and we had a little girl together, and Andrea, and she was about 3 at the time. And we just went through a lot. I mean, I could write a book, but I won't go into details. But just ugly court battles constantly. Spent thousands of dollars on attorney fees, and just not pretty. Not pretty. Nothing I would ever wish on my worst enemy to go through. Glad those days are over. Thank God. My daughter's 20 now, and it's just so much better now than it was back then. But if I could put this in here, I know this isn't much about business, but if any one of you are out there and you're going through a divorce and it's not pretty, you're not liking each other, hating each other, don't ever put your kids in the middle, because it's not their fault. And or use them as a pawn, because kids are innocent, they're precious, and they need love and support from each parent no matter what. And if you can at all costs, just be civil to each other. You don't have to really like them, but when you're with your kids or around your kids, be civil, and just work together for the good of your kids, because I can't stress that enough, that it's really important. And unfortunately, my ex and I it was ugly. We don't talk. We didn't talk for years. We don't talk. And it's sad, and I think that for the children's sake, it shouldn't be that way. But anyhow, so I was single for about 5 years after my first divorce, and worked a lot of dead-end jobs. I did have my own business for a short time. I went to beauty school in Pittsburgh, PA, and got a little certificate training and opened my own business for a short time. But the timing of it was not good. I opened up my business like right before I got my divorce, and I could not sustain myself with just a new business. I hadn't had the clientele build up where I needed it to be to live on that full time. I mean, I was making enough to pay the rent and pay my overhead and the bills, but not my bills at home. So unfortunately, I had to let that go. But I learned a lot. And so it was all good. And through my first divorce, I ended up having to file bankruptcy. I filed Chapter 10 and just had to start all over again. And not a pleasant thing either to go through. But live and learn. And so had a lot of dead-end jobs. One job in particular I won't forget. It was a local job at a basket factory, and I started the job, and they're like, oh, we're going to put you on, you're going to be an end sewer. So I'm like, oh, okay, And I'm pretty good picking up things pretty fast. I'm pretty good with my hands, and so I picked up real fast. It was kind of like what I did all day was I stood at this. I'm trying to explain it. It's kind of like a steel pole, and it had like a little pole sticking out of it, and you put these little like flat. Well, there's what I did was kind of make them into baskets, I guess. They were kind of like flat, like wicker, I guess. So I guess that's how I would say it was wicker. You'd put it over here, and you would just do this all day with your fingers. And you just had to get a system down. And I got good at it. And everybody, all the girls there were like, oh, you really picked up. You're doing great. Most people are gone after the first couple days. They just don't, they hate it. And it wasn't a real pleasant job, let me tell you. It was dusty and dirty in there. And I just did that for 8-10 hours a day. And it was like piecework, so they would go by your speed. The faster you were, the little more money you made. So, it was pretty fast. And I always made more than, minimum wage. Woo! I think I made God, back then, maybe like $6.50 an hour, which was like, we're doing pretty good because you're above minimum. Well, let me tell you, after about 4 months of doing that every day, my hands were killing me. I was like in tears. And I'm in my 20s. I'm 25 years old, and I'd come home and I'd be like bawling because my hands were just hurt like hell. And so anyway, I'd go into work, and all the women are there, and most of them were older. They were probably like in their early 40s, mid 40s, older for me at the time because I was 25, and they're all like, oh, popping Tylenol left and right, and they're like, oh yeah, you're gonna have carpal tunnel, give it a couple years, you'll have carpal tunnel like all of us. Shot that surgery, and they're popping, aspirin left and right, and they live on Tylenol like all these women. It's a small little factory, but still, I'm sitting there thinking, what the heck, I don't want to live like this, but I'm a single parent. I got to put food on the table, and I didn't really have any skills. I hadn't gone to college, so I did it, and not for very long though, because it just hurt so bad. So anyway, shortly after that, I got another job, and another dead-end job basically, but it put food on the table for the time being. And so anyhow, where was I going with all this? I did get into a pretty decent job when I was about 30. It was a union job, but it was, it's still, I was like doing janitor work and just watching bottles go by. Woohoo, that's fun. And that got me dizzy. I didn't really like that too much. But it paid good, it paid pretty decent. It was a lot more than minimum wage at the time. I had good benefits, and anyhow, that's where I met my second husband, and I was 30. And so we didn't date very long, and I ended up marrying him, and I don't suggest that either. Anybody out there, I just tend to just fall hard and heavy and just rush into things. And so anyhow, I did that, and still married today, 12 years later. Wish I could say it was real happy, but it's not. But he's an alcoholic also, and alcoholism is just a horrible, horrendous thing, and I don't wish it on anybody. And there's just so much of it out there. I just wish sometimes that they, whoever made alcohol, they just shake them. I don't know what they were thinking. And I think everything in moderation is good. I like to sit and have a drink or two, maybe on holidays or whatever on the weekends just to wind down. But when it becomes an addiction, it's an ugly thing, and it ruins lives. It just ruins lives, period. And so anyway, I have been an internet marketer now and network marketer for a few years. I absolutely love it. I love it for so many reasons. And if you're an internet marketer, you know what I'm saying. I wasn't raised in the most positive atmosphere. And you're just surrounded by people that are positive and uplifting and full of personal development ideas, and just you're growing and learning, and it's exciting, and I love it. And it escapes me from reality, I guess, at some point, my reality that I'm living right now, and I want to get out of, and I'm getting there. But my huge why, and everybody has a why, and you should have a why as to why you're doing your business, is this. I don't think anybody should depend on someone else financially. It's not healthy. I think in some degree when you're married to someone, yeah, it's normal because you're married to them and you should, want to take care of each other. But when it comes to the point where if you need to get out of a relationship or you want to and you can't, that's not healthy. It's just not good. And I want to always teach my daughters to um, be able to sustain yourself financially, independently, apart from anyone else, especially a man or your husband even. Be financially independent. And for me to be able to teach them that, I have to be an example. Children do as you do, not as you say. And that's the truth. You have to model what you want them to do. And so I am in the process, and I'm so close. I'm